Today we're going to be talking about embedded analytics. With Knowi, you can embed analytics or integrate your dashboard and widgets into end destinations. Now, for instance, that end destination might be a website, a e-commerce platform, a blog page, or oftentimes a third-party application. Types of embed possible in Knowi are a simple URL embed, a secure URL embed, and the last being a single sign-in embed. What we're going to be looking at today is the simple URL embed. Now, for the simple URL embed, all it requires is grabbing the dashboard or widget URL ID code and adding that to an iframe or utilizing the JavaScript API. Now, to do that, navigate over to your dashboard, and from the dashboard, you can access the share URL, which is for the simple URL embed scenario at the dashboard level or at the widget level by going into the settings, going into share, and on the bottom as well, you could grab one. After you've retrieved your URL embed code, now the next thing you'd want to do is utilize, as I mentioned earlier, the iframe or a JavaScript API. Now with the iframe, it embeds the full properties of the dashboard or widget with very little controls around the look and feel of how it's displayed. For instance, if you're embedding the full dashboard utilizing the iframe, you don't have a lot of options or flexibility in customizing the controls of how the end user interacts with that embedded item. However, with the JavaScript API, that gives you full flexibility to customize the look and feel of all parts of the embedded item, such as the left panel, the dashboard header, or the widget header as well, and even down to the settings and the analytics mode, and enabling that for the end user to interact with it. Now I've gone ahead and set up mine, and what this looks like if you've set this up correctly in two examples, one using the embed iframe. And now again, to run through that, go into any one of your widgets, and from the share page, you can generate a new embed URL, and at the bottom there's an iframe object which you can copy and paste. I've done that on mine, and so what you end up seeing is something that looks like this using the iframe. So you could see it's been embedded utilizing an iframe object, and you can still interact with the dashboard the same way you will from a user account on Knowi. You have access to seeing the underlying data from the dashboard itself, from the widget itself, using some of the filtering options, the natural language analytics mode within this embedded iframe. So this really gives you, as an end user or provider to your end users, flexibility and more access alongside the information you're providing to them. The other option to that is utilizing the JavaScript API. Now for the JavaScript API, there are a few things to keep in mind. And again, the documentation for all of this can be found on the websites. If you navigate to from the search box, type in embedded analytics or embed. From there, you can see information around the three different ones. And for the JavaScript API, there is a fully documented page providing you with the options on how to embed that within your platform, as well as the different controls and parameters you have in setting that up. So now jumping back to my example, I grabbed a URL, a dashboard URL, which I'm going to be embedding, and using the share type embed, which is for the non-secure embed or the simple URL embed. You have a handful of options and things you can customize. So let me pull this up side by side so we can see some of the changes on what we've embedded on the left side, and what the controls are going to be on the right side. So let's pull this a little bit closer and shrink this a bit. Make this a little bit bigger. So on this side, so now I've gone ahead and done my embed using the JavaScript API. As you can see, if it's a full dashboard with multiple widgets on this, and what you can see with this is the view you would see as an end user is the same thing you would see using the full platform. A few things that we can do with this using the Embed API, with the JavaScript API, I should say, is control how certain things are shown to the end user. For instance, we can add the dashboard header by changing the flag from the JavaScript API to set in, where is that? Set in the header property here to true. And saving this and coming back here, let's refresh the page. We should now see the dashboard header on top. A few of the things we can do with this is disable the controls on the widget level. So the end user does not have a lot of flexibility to move things around or disrupt or change the flow of how you want that data information presented to them. So we can turn off, we can change the background color, and let's make this blue. And let's make one more change to this. Let's disable the, let's see, what's a good one? Let's disable the settings, which would be the widget settings. So setting this flag to false and saving this. And if we refresh this page, as we can see, the background is blue now. And we've, as a user, you're not able to change the, you no longer have access to the widget settings. Or we can as well take off the filter. So on here right now, we could, let's make this a little bit bigger. We could utilize some of the filtering functionality and add, we can add filters on top of this dashboard. Let's say, just give us a couple different cities and save that. Nothing really changes. The only thing that changes is now they are empowered with the capabilities to interact with the dashboard and interact with the platform from an analytics perspective, right? So imagine embedding this into a third-party platform in which users logging into the platform could now view analytics information and dissect and write their own analytics or compute their own analytics on the fly. So now that we've applied this this filter, as a user, again, you can also come into this while still in embed mode, and in utilizing the NLP functionality to do some self-analytics on top of this embedded item. So we can do something like counts of, actually, let's change this and do something a little bit more fun. Let's do average total charges by city and state. So now let's press enter. And then we've gotten the result for that. Now this result is deriving from what we filtered on from earlier, and we can download this and use that elsewhere. As you're not able to save this back to the original dashboard because we're in embed mode at this point. But abstracting from that, we can really see how powerful this is. Where as an end user for your use cases, you can embed your application or your full analytics application to the end user utilizing the JavaScript API and allow them to do a lot more dicing and slicing under data and be very interactive using the NLP functionality, and then you as a provider customizing the look and feel. One last thing to do on this is to show you one more controls of disabling the filtering capabilities on this. Now, if we set the filter flag to false, this disables the filter. Let's save this and refresh the page. This now prevents the user from interacting with the filtered functionality, but they can still do all the other functionalities you provided to them. Now, again, just to recap, what we've done so far is using the simple URL to embed using an iframe object or the JavaScript API.
For more information on how to get the best out of Knowi, please visit knowi.com/university. Thanks for watching and see you next time.